So if you remember, these are the deities which I've given in the introduction to the D10 chart and how to read it in the first video in the playlist. You can look it up. But just to recap, the deities are the archetypes of energies which a person will have, which they bring to the profession in the D10 chart. Now, mind you, these deities or these archetypes are only meant for D10 chart, not so much for D1 chart. Okay, forget the natal charts for the time being. Only the Dashamsha, the 10th divisional chart. 0 to 3 degrees leadership, 3 to 6 degrees strong work ethic, determined people, 6 to 9 degrees Yama, discipline, strong sense of responsibility, 9 to 12 competitive spirit, 12 to 16 excellent communication skills. Other things I mentioned, I'm quickly recapping. 15 to 18 degrees, they are very dynamic and flexible, quickest to adapt. 18 to 21 degrees is more of financial wealth, astute sensitivity, right? Accountants kind of. 21 to 24 degrees is ability to find purpose and meaning in life. This can once again apply to all kinds of professions, mind you. Just because you're in the medical field doesn't mean you're stuck in hospitals or clinics all the time. You might be able to bring a higher meaning, like Dr. Hegde in India, right? He's bringing a higher meaning to medical science. 24 to 27 degrees is intellectual capability and innovative thinking. 27 to 30 degrees is stability and long-lasting success. So mind you, all of these 3 degrees and 10 divisions in the D10 chart, in the career chart, are very important to consider. So any planet or point in those particular degrees will have a propensity, will have a drive in that particular direction. That's all it means. It will have that quality. Okay? This is very crucial to understand. So you should understand this when you're determining the qualities of the planet in a D10 chart. Now let's see Pushya Nakshatra, what it brings to the table. So what is the broad scope of Swati Nakshatra talents and abilities? So far as D10 chart is concerned, we are exploring careers, jobs, talents, abilities of every nakshatra in this playlist. So we come to the 15th nakshatra of Swati, which falls fully within Libra. It's the heart of Libra. It is a Devgana, so it has got everything to do with higher mind, higher thinking, diplomacy, tact, independent thinking, very highly individualistic is Swati. Swati means self, okay? So it is about individualistic talents and it's a Devgana. So it thinks about higher ideologies. How can I achieve this aim in my job, in my business, in my career? Looking at it from a higher vantage point. That's Devgana. So let's see the general characteristics and then we'll get into the specifics for the young, upbeat Gen Z crowd over there. Okay. Diplomacy and negotiation is the top of the list. Like I said, Swati is in Libra. Libra is about other people. Yet Swati is individualistic. You see how this plays out as a dynamic. This is very interesting part of Swati. It is extremely individualistic, yet it is very diplomatic towards others. The Libra plays out very beautifully in Swati. Diplomacy and negotiation, they may excel in professions that require negotiation and conflict resolution. The diplomats of a country even. They may thrive as diplomats, mediators, lawyers, arbitrators, or in roles that involve maintaining harmony and finding mutually beneficial solutions. How beautiful is that? Much required in the world today, as you can see. People are very polarized about everything. There is an extreme degree of polarization going on, even here in India, the left wing or the right wing or this or that. Swati is needed more now than ever. Law and justice, they may excel in legal professions. Again, law is also about caring for the others, and Saturn is exalted in Libra. They may thrive as lawyers, judges, legal advisors, legal researchers, or in roles that involve upholding and interpreting the law. Number 3, communication and writing. Libra is about intellect. So, intellect, high degree of intellectual ability and individualistic intellectual ability translated in terms of communication. Think Mercury. It's Mercury there. In this case, it is Venus because it's about Libra. Venus obviously is its own sign in Libra, right? We shall see that planets by ascendants because it varies upon which ascendant what dominant rules there. Okay? That we shall see next. These are the general characteristics. Next one is social work and humanitarian causes. Like I said, this is once again Libra playing out very strongly. They may excel in social work and humanitarian professions, like NGOs, for example, like non-governmental organizations, charity organizations, organizations that work for a cause, not doing shady things in the name of a cause. Careful about that. They may thrive as social workers, activists, counselors, volunteers, or in roles that involve making positive impact on others' lives. Next one, they're also good in public relations and marketing. Same as the first one, right? Diplomacy. Public relations is about diplomacy. It's not having a fixed single-minded point of view or very narrow perspective or this to the exclusion of that. Swati is very inclusive, not separatist. Public relations and marketing. They may excel in public relations and marketing roles. They may thrive as PR managers, brand ambassadors, advertising executives, or in roles that involve building relationships and promoting products or services. Swati is Rahu like. It's ruled by Rahu, they say. So Rahu and Venus will play out dominantly, as you can see in the planets list there. Last one, business and entrepreneurship. Very entrepreneurial, what I would call it, not necessarily working for an organization. Swati is individualistic. It might not survive very well when you have to report to a boss or report to a team leader because they themselves are the leaders. They are inborn with that ability of entrepreneurship. They may excel in business and entrepreneurial ventures. They may thrive as business owners, consultants, sales managers, or in roles that involve strategic planning. That comes into mind. Strategic planning with respect to Swati involves the tact and diplomacy and a long range vision of Devgana. Devganas have the longest range vision. Business development and relationship management. I'm thinking more in terms of strategic planning and relationship management because both are up the sleeve of Swati, as we saw. Now let us quickly recap all the ascendants and see where Swati Nakshatra plays out, which one is applicable to which ascendant in which house. Okay. So for the Aries ascendant in the T10 chart, Swati falls in the seventh house. Again, seventh house is about business partnerships. So business and entrepreneurship comes to mind. If these planets like Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and aspecting Rahu on these planets sitting in Swati, it's a strong indication of a good business partnership kind of entrepreneurial approach. Remember, entrepreneurship, not so much of working for a company. They are self-starters. They have the innate intelligence, Swati people. Diplomacy and negotiation also comes into picture because again, it's about seventh house, right? It's right opposite. So let's see what the ascendant is like. Ascendant varies between Ashwini, Bharani, and Kritika. Where with Ashwini, they can be great initiators. They can be more about law and justice also, because Ashwini is a strong nakshatra in terms of initiation, legal advisors, lawyers, judges, etc. So on. So Saturn, Mercury, Jupiter, and Moon in Swati or aspects thereof needs to be studied. Also the D10 deities. Okay. In Bharani Nakshatra, it will be more about communication and writing. They may excel in communication and writing. Social and humanitarian causes is a big one. Bharani loves to have social causes, especially that of women and children. So much needed in our society these days. So Bharani can excel in that. It's ruled by Yama and it's all about principles, ethics. It's ruled by Yama, Bharani Nakshatra. So if the ascendant is in Bharani and these planets like Venus, Moon, and Saturn are dominating in Swati Nakshatra in the seventh house, it can be about social causes, humanitarian causes, causes of women, causes of children, social workers, activists, counselors, or volunteers in that direction. Bharani is about children and about women. Kritika Nakshatra, on the other hand, more management type, so I would think business and entrepreneurship. Okay. Public relations, not so much. I would still think business and entrepreneurship. So you got to check for planets Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and Rahu in Swati or aspects of Rahu from some other place. Okay. And also see the D10 deities. That's for Aries ascendant. Taurus ascendant, number 2 in the D10. We have 3 nakshatras over there: Kritika, Rohini, and Mrikshirsha. Always first watch for the ascendant because those characteristics of those nakshatras will play out in every house, in every profession that you go. It doesn't matter which profession you're selecting. This day and age, there are lots of professions, yes? Right. Sixth house stands for obstacles, fights, debts, legal and court cases. Guess which profession we are talking about here? In Swati, law and justice may excel in legal professions, lawyers, judges, legal advisors, legal researchers, paralegals even. Okay, let's go by nakshatras then. Kritika nakshatra, yes, very sharp tongue, very aggressive, very fiery driven. For practicing law in this day and age, at least, you need a lot of Mars type of energy. You need a lot of Saturn type of energy. Saturn is for legal professions. So look for, where is the guy gone? Law. Saturn, Mercury, Jupiter, and Moon. Why this funny combination, you might ask? Saturn is for law and justice. It's a daily work. Saturn does very well in the sixth house. It's a daily work. Saturn loves to work. Mercury, you need speaking skills, communication skills. Lawyers yammer on non-stop in the courtroom. Yes? So communication is important. Jupiter, knowledge of the law. What is the penal code there, right? What does the law code say of a country, law of the land, so to speak? You need the knowledge, Jupiter. Moon, kind of because it is caring a little bit. Not so much required, I would think. I have stuck in Moon simply because it's Libra. It wants to have a concern over it. Kritika will do well in legal professions. Rohini, on the other hand, might be more about diplomacy and negotiation. And so will Mrikshirsha, the third one. Diplomacy and negotiation. Mrikshirsha is more dominant in diplomacy and negotiation because it's constantly searching for different solutions. Mind is very highly active in Mrikshirsha. Rohini, on the other hand, may be about business and entrepreneurship. Rohini is driven by business. It's a Vaishya. So excellent business and entrepreneurship ventures. Rohini, more like business, not so much about entrepreneurship, although I have seen charts which are Rohini dominant in businesses also. Okay, that's Taurus. Let us see Gemini. For the Gemini ascendant, we have 3 nakshatras: Mrikshirsha, Ardra, and Punarvasu. Some padas at least, the dominant padas. The last pada is in Cancer. Mrikshirsha, Ardra, and Punarvasu in the ascendant. Ascendant dictates the characteristics, which applies to everything, like we just said. But here, Swati falls in the 5th house of creative intelligence, creativity, arts, music. What kind of professions can we find them? Communication and writing, right? So look for Venus, Jupiter, Moon, and Rahu. Especially Rahu, if it involves things like public speaking, journalists, podcasters, role in communication. Communication is good up Swati sleep, but Rahu has to figure in because it's a Rahu ruled nakshatra and it knows the shrewd ways, the unconventional maverick ways of how to handle communications. Okay. So which one plays out here? Mrikshirsha, it'll be more like diplomacy and negotiation. Mrikshirsha is a very gentle nakshatra. So it will take in this quality of Swati and apply it to diplomacy. Countries, diplomats, for example. Negotiators for a company or a legal profession, for example. Ardra Nakshatra wants to dig deep, go into depth of things. What requires depth of things? Communication and writing? Yes, definitely, because in Gemini, Ardra is in the heart of Gemini. Something like yellow journalism, something like investigative journalism is Ardra Nakshatra plus Swati in the 5th house. Ardra Nakshatra ascendant. Punarvasu is more like a business person, so it will be business and entrepreneurship, creative entrepreneurship. So Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and Rahu again. See, because it's a Rahu ruled nakshatra and it's in the sign of Libra, so you've got to look for Venus and Rahu more dominantly if you want to see this is what a person will exactly do. Okay. Let's see Cancer. For the Cancer ascendant, we have 3 nakshatras once again. Every zodiac sign has 3 nakshatras is coming into them. So Punarvasu, Pushya, and Ashlesha. Ashlesha would be more like social and humanitarian causes, social workers, activists, etc. Pushya might be more about teaching line. They are more of teachers. Public relations and marketing, fine. Business and entrepreneurship as coaches. Because Swati loves to teach. Swati is individualist. Punarvasu, once again, business and entrepreneurship. But now it is placed in the fourth house. Fourth house is the heart kind of matters, work from home kind of. So it may also involve things like writing, journalists. Swati's life lesson is to go find their individuality to make things work for them. Communication is writing is novelists, I would put it, because it's a Libran ruled nakshatra, Swati. So it's more of creative writing, fiction writers, um, fairy tales, Harry Potter, that kind of a fiction writing. Not so much science fiction, but I would say mainstream fiction, heartfelt ones. Paulo Coelho kind of. Okay, that is in Pushya Nakshatra because it wants to teach, it wants to write, it wants to communicate in terms of writing, communicative writing in terms of fiction, because I'm talking the fourth house here. Okay, in Ashlesha, also it might be about legal, depends upon what the other planets are doing though. Kind of legal also can play for Ashlesha because Ashlesha is sharp, it wants to bite quickly, like Nagas. Punarvasu is definitely about business and entrepreneurship. For a Leo ascendant, we have three nakshatras, Magha, Purva Falguni, Uttar Falguni. Purva Falguni, Uttar Falguni, both somewhat are more creative in their approach. They're more about public relations marketing, maybe even about communications writing, maybe even about social work or humanitarian causes. Magha, on the other hand, is all about leadership, business and entrepreneurship, business owners. Magha is more of a business owner, more of strategic planning and business development. Magha can also do that. So can Uttar Falguni. Purva Falguni is more of artistic. So communication and writing in terms of romantic fiction novels, right? Third house, where Swati is falling now for a Leo ascendant, is about writing skills. So if you have something like Venus, Jupiter, Moon, Rahu aspecting the third house within Swati, any of these planets placed in Swati, and you have Purva Falguni, you might become a romantic novelist, writer. Okay? So that's for Leo ascendant. For the Virgo ascendant, we have Uttar Falguni, Hasta, and Chitra, nakshatras in the ascendant. But now Swati has come into the second house of speech. What requires speech here? Diplomacy and negotiation, law and justice, communication and writing. First three in the list requires a lot of speaking. Yes? So that will be dominant here. Let's see by nakshatra in the ascendant. Uttar Falguni, more like diplomacy and negotiation. Hasta, also diplomacy and negotiation, but more of communication and writing. Hasta is hand skills. So Hasta will have to do with writing, journalists, fiction, non-fiction, novels, etc. Chitra is more creative, social work, no. Public relations and marketing, yes, definitely. Chitra will be good at that. PR managers, brand ambassadors, advertising executives. Chitra is very creative. These kind of public, this marketing does require a lot of creative ability. Yes, that's for the Virgo ascendant. For the Libra ascendant, obviously, Swati is in an ascendant itself, so all of these professions are possible, and all of these talents they may carry to any other profession that they might do. You have to look at the deities of planets arranged in Swati or in any of the houses, aspecting Swati, even Jupiter, Rahu, Ketu. Okay, Swati is more of a Rahu ruled nakshatra, so look at Rahu more, as you can see in the planets, not so much Ketu. Right? Ketu doesn't do very well. It's kind of lost in its own uniqueness, so to speak. Look for other planets, look for where they are placed, in which nakshatra, and check out that particular video in my playlist and try to come to a conclusion. It's like a detective work. You need to play detective with your own chart. So for the Scorpio ascendant, we have Vishakha, Anuradha, and Jyeshtha nakshatra in the ascendant. Swati falls in the 12th house of working behind the scenes or abroad. One of the two. Abroad, diplomacy. Diplomats of a country, they need to go abroad. So first one, diplomacy and negotiation, that profession. So you look for Jupiter, Venus, Moon, and Rahu and aspects thereof. Let's look at the ascendants once again. Vishakha, interested more in management and entrepreneurship. There, business and entrepreneurship. Vishakha ascendant, and in 12th house, they may even go abroad on business. They may go abroad and set up a business there because 12th house is also a house of abroad in terms of working. So that's for Vishakha. For Anuradha, it is more of softer ones, diplomacy and negotiation. Anuradha is deeply concerned about making friends. Its deity is Mitra, so it's all about friendship. You require to have friends all over different countries. As if you're a diplomat, you can't be having an aggressive stand, right? In Jyeshtha, it will be more of business and entrepreneurship because Jyeshtha loves to be the elder one. Jyeshtha means the elder one in Sanskrit. Okay. While the Sagittarius ascendant, Swati goes in the 11th house of other people, community, social media, gaining wealth, stock market wealth, gain wealth. Fifth one is speculation. 11th opposite is the gaining of that. Those kinds of professions. So I could think of public relations and marketing and business and entrepreneurship. Both of these involve a large community. So is justice if you're a judge. Communication writing if you're a journalist. Social work and humanitarian, yes. So 11th, Swati coming in the 11th for Sagittarius ascendant becomes a very dominant aspect of determining career, okay, in the public life, in which Swati shines in the public life, which it's all about public life. Swati is about others, although it is an individualist. Let's look at the ascendants. Uttarashada, Purvashada, it's about victory, gaining victory, maintaining victory. Purvashada wants victory, Uttarashada wants to maintain victory. Shada means victorious. Mula, on the other hand, wants to dig deep and find out the depth of things, uncovering the core of Sagittarius is Mula, the center of the galaxy where the black hole is, the Mula, the root. Okay. Now, Mula will do well in law and justice because they have a very sharp tongue. I know, I have a daughter like that. They may thrive as lawyers, judges, legal advisors, researchers. Okay. So this will be good because judge with Sagittarius Mula, it's very dharma sign. Ninth house, traditional ninth house, looking at Swati, the judge had to be individualistic, right? The chief justice of a country, for example, the top of the rank, because they are in contact with the masses all the time. Uttarashada and Purvashada also may be legal and justice, but Purvashada being more of business and entrepreneurship because they are about gaining victory. Victory is looking for what kind of profession looks for victory? It's business, right? I want to be competitive. So Purvashada might be more of business if planets of that kind are in Swati in the 11th house for a Sagittarius ascendant in D10. I don't have to keep repeating all this, of course, but yeah. Uttarashada, on the other hand, will be more of public relations and marketing, kind of diplomacy. Uttarashada can be, Uttarashada can be diplomatic there. Okay. Especially when it comes in the Capricorn, not so much in the Sagittarius. I would think more public relations and marketing for Uttarashada. In this case, the Uttarashada part which is falling in Sagittarius. The Capricorn ascendant, number 10, which is ruled by Saturn, and now Saturn is exalted in the 10th house, and its 10th house is the house of careers, which becomes dominant for Capricorn ascendants in D10. Uttarashadra, Shravana, and Dhanishta, three nakshatras in the possible combination here. And Swati comes in the 10th house. So this becomes a very key dominant factor going forward. Every nakshatra is like this, okay? Whatever comes in the 10th house in a D10 chart becomes very governing principle. If there is a dominance of planets or points in those nakshatras in the 10th house. Just keep this in mind. Uttarashada, okay, Uttarashada is looking for victory here, and if Saturn is placed in Swati, it is definitely a good recipe for a judge of High Court, of Supreme Court, judges of all kinds, because Saturn loves that authority of legal profession. It's about law. It's about ethics. It's about doing the right thing for Saturn. It's kind of dharmic in that way. Uttarashada, because it's a lot of the ascendant now is in the 10th house, it's exalted position. So it's the highest peak of being a judge, a lawyer, one who makes policies, you might say. It can even be diplomacy if you want to look at it that way, because Swati is about diplomacy. These people can be diplomats of other countries if it's in Uttarashada. Okay. Shravana is more of a teaching, more of a softer teaching kind of profession. Social work, humanitarian causes, more like social workers, activists, counselors is more like it. Shravana is a good counselor, very good counselor because it's a Devana. And it loves to do work. And if Saturn is sitting in Swati with Shravana Nakshatra, both are Devanas. So now you have a person who wants to do great social causes and will excel in it. Even counselors, even psychotherapists. Not so much psychotherapists, that will be more Scorpio types. Dhanishta will, on the other hand, will be about diplomacy and negotiation, will be about law and justice, these two kind, right? As diplomats, mediators, lawyers, arbitrators, paralegals, legal profession, legal script writing. I don't know what all they have in legal profession. I'm an engineer. I don't know what they have. Yeah. For the Aquarius ascendant, we have Dhanishta, Shatabhisha, and Purvabhadrapada. But now Swati falls in the 9th house of gurus, of short distance foreign travels, of teaching type of professions, of banking. But we don't have a banking thing in here. Business and entrepreneurship, yes, they're good at business and entrepreneurship, especially if it is in Dhanishta. They might be working in top positions in the bank, public front of the bank, PR people in a bank. Shatabhisha, on the other side, is good at communication and writing, writing, abstract journalism, non-fiction, that kind of writing. The kind and style varies. This is how a nakshatra's place signature in each and every written chart. You have to understand the signature of a nakshatra, the signature of a planet. And then you can pretty much make out what they are well suited for, where they will shine. And when it comes to Shatabhisha, yeah, abstract writing, more of diplomacy and negotiation, not so much. Not so much the rest of them. I would still put it at communication and writing because it's the 9th house. For Purva Bhadrapada, they want social work, humanitarian causes. It's a Brahmana nakshatra. We shall see this in the part of the nakshatra, right? We are seeing what kind, yeah, Brahmana, Kshatriya. Each nakshatra brings in a quality, a potential, a propensity. Okay, so these people, Purva Bhadrapada, will be social workers, activists, counselors, and that kind of profession. Let us finish with Pisces now. Lastly, for the wonderful Pisceans, Swati falls in the 8th house now. This becomes a background work for the Piscean ascendant, and they love it anyway. They have a softer emotional sign. 8th house means everything secretive. What requires secretive doing stuff? Communication and writing, like fiction writing of any kind, maybe journalistic, investigative journalism, who's a background researcher. Any kind of writing that involves background researching. That will be more of Purva Bhadrapada, by the way. Okay, communication and writing relating to secretive stuff, investigating stuff. Purva Bhadrapada is good at that. Uttar Bhadrapada might be more about emotional writing. Revati is a businessman, may excel in business owners, consultants, sales managers, that kind of a role. But since 8th house belongs to a background work, working behind the scenes, like 8th and 12th have similar themes. They might be more of a consultant or a business consultant to the CEO, right? Wherever they are taking coaching from. They are working behind the scenes, but it's actually working for the business. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is my take on Swati Nakshatra in D10. Let me know if you have D10 any comments on what you found out in this value. I'd like to know if you found whatever value you derive from these videos. Leave a comment if you find something interesting in your D10 chart which ties in with what I've said here. And for consultation and things, there's description box. You can send me your consultation and we can take it. Which is the next one after Swati? Vishakha. We'll deal with Vishakha next. Take care. Be safe.